just waiting for parts to get in. So in the meantime, I brought my heads to work. I won't run these tonight because I'm about to leave. Just a little dirty, nothing crazy. So this is before. New plugs are gonna go in. I'll take the valves out. New retainers, keepers, new springs, valve guide seals, all from Brian Tooley Racing. And then once that's all done, I'll go and check my push rod length. So I didn't order the push rods yet. Titanium springs, dual spring in there, keepers, got some retainers, valve seats, or the valve spring seats, upgrading my rocker arms and installing these rocker arm bearings with washers. Here's the bearings itself. Oh, here we go, with some C-clips. This is a really nice upgrade. Alright, so the heads are all finished. Came out pretty nice. So right now I'm about to take all the valves out, the valve spring compressor. Here's one of the heads, and I have the other one here. I'm still going to take these into the media blaster, and once the valves are out, just get down in these intake ports just to make sure everything is as clean as possible, and then go ahead and treat the surface of the head, and then basically just get the cylinder heads done. And then once that is all finished, I'll replace the bearings in those rocker arms. I got the valves and springs, and I also took off the valve guide seals with the spring seats removed. And then I put this head back in the wash tank, just trying to clean it up a little bit more. But I'll end up going to the media blaster and get all this carbon out of the intake ports. I already took the valves over to the media blaster, and as you can see, this is what they looked like before, and then I took them to the media blaster, and this is what they look like now. It cleans it up right away. There's no need to go extra bigger size valves right now. It really depends on the head, and using stock heads, so just use stock valves. So I'll go ahead and clean these up. And then I have, I'm just going to do one head at a time. That way I don't lose track of where the valves were in position to the cylinder head. And then we'll do the rocker arm upgrades, which is this Brian Tooley kit again. But first I'm going to get the cylinder heads all put back together, because I can do the rocker arms after that. So I'm going to go ahead, clean the valves, clean the intake ports, go to install the valve springs, and when I go install the valve springs, I have to make sure the installed height of the valve springs is correct. Alright, so here's the media blaster. So just put your parts in here. It's going to be hard to record and use this at the same time. Basically just go in here, turn it on. Got this little blaster right here. Foot pedal right here, and then just kind of blast away. So I'm going to go ahead and do those real quick and show you what they look like after. Alright, so now the valves are all done. I don't know if you can see that. I'll take them out real quick. Let's turn this off. And this is what they look like after the, oh come on, there we go, after the media blaster, and they look brand new, literally brand new. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all the other valves that I have, and then start working on some valve lapping compound and get the valves seated. I did water test them before I took the cylinder heads apart, and they were leaking water, so go and get the valves lapped down, and yeah, just get the cylinder heads all put back together. Alright, so I got all the valves cleaned up and the cylinder head. There's a little bit of carbon left in there, so I'll have to go in there with like a pick or something, but other than that it came out pretty good. This was all caked up with carbon. Repeat the same thing for the other cylinder head. They're exactly the same heads. The only difference is this plug here. If there's a coolant temp sensor on this side, this is the driver's side cylinder head. So this will actually be, this one will sit like this on the engine. You know, driver's side over here, passenger side. That's one way to tell. And I do have to get these exhaust studs out. There's one right here, and there's one right there. So I just have to weld a nut on there and just bring it back out. Not a big deal. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other cylinder head, and then we can start doing all the fun stuff and putting this motor together. I have pretty much all the parts I need. So you just gotta do the cylinder heads and yeah, put the motor together. Back at the cylinder head stuff. So these are the, come on, rocker arms. So for the Brian Tooley kit, you need to press out the center bearing on the OEM LS rocker arms. What I decided to do was make my own press. Just so I used to use a socket, but I'm going to make it for all the LSs that I build. It'll be easier to just to make my own tool for it. So I'm going to go ahead and machine. I already kind of have it in the right diameter, so I just need to cut it off, and then I'll make the. So basically, it's going to press this side, and then I'll need to bore out the center of the other one so it can fit around the outer diameter of the bearing, just so it's a little bit stronger of a press, and also instead of using sockets all the time. Looks way better, a little darker. Alright, so I have this little piece machined down. I just need to cut it off and then machine out the other end, so that way I can yeah, make the tool for the parts that I need. Alright, so I decided to cut it with the bandsaw, the horizontal bandsaw. Yeah, we don't have to sit there and try to cut it down. Our cutting piece broke off for the lathe, so I'll just use a bandsaw for it. Heads are cleaned, so now I'm just gonna put some valve lapping compound on the valves in the cylinder head and get all the valves ready. So valves are all cleaned up. Just gonna go through. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but basically just grab some valve grinding compound, valve lapping compound, same thing. Put it on the seat right here. Put your valve in place. This little suction cup, put it on, turn it around. I do need to grab some 2x4s because the valves don't go in all the way. Just gotta put some 2x4s to lift the head up a little bit. And then I'll go and install all the springs and just get all the heads done. Once I'm done this, I'll go ahead and do the rocker arm trunnion upgrade. all the valves are finished with the lapping compound. I put the heads and the valves back in the tank to clean it, just make sure there's no more of that material left over. So now what I'm going to do is put in these valve spring seats into each one of these, and just get all these finished real quick. Just make sure they're facing the right way. And then we have these valve guide seals. There we go. And this kit right here is a valve guide seal installer. So you just want to find the one that fits your valve guide seal. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Let me put you up on the tripod real quick. So you have the valve guide seal, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that fits. Just double check. Yeah, so I'm going to put it in here. It's a little bit deeper, but just to get it started. This is the deep end, and then this one's more shallow. So I'll get in here to get it started. Basically what you want to do, we're going to go ahead and put in our valve from the back side. So right here is our, let's see. So we have our intake valve. We have our intake valve in. We're going to take this 8mm sized taper, and this slips over the valve. I'll show you real quick. So we have our valve in here, and this is our taper. Come on, baby. Alright, and then it sits right over here, just like that. Now we're going to take our tool. See, it already bottomed out. It's not going any further. So I'm going to take the shallow end, put it right in here. I'm just going to hit it a couple times with a hammer. Just give it a couple taps. And looks like it's fully seated. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get deeper than that. So now our valve guide seal is installed. This valve's ready for the spring to be installed, but I'm just going to go ahead and get all the seats in, or the valve guide seals I mean, into each one of these. And then right after that we'll put the springs in, retainer, and the keepers. Just moving right along. I forgot to mention I add a little bit of oil just to help out valve guide seal. Slide it right over. I forgot to put this black piece on the end I'm not using. Makes it easier to hammer. Gotta move this piece out of the way. Put a little oil. Valve guide seal. Installer. Hammer. Just going to finish the last three and we'll start doing the springs. All the valve guide seals are in. Went ahead and just put some Local Moly anti-friction. This is meant for motor oil, but put it right on the spring seats. It's not going to hurt anything. And now I'm just going to take, a spring, and then you place your retainer on there, and then we'll grab the keepers and compress the spring, put it down in there. I think you guys can see that, right? Okay. Alright. Let's bring this out. Loosen that. Let's get this situated. It's all about the setup. Once you get it where you need to, that looks good about there. And then just alright. It's a little tricky, but we can do it. And just like that. First one is in. Alright, spring, retainer, keepers, that's installed. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all these real quick. Really not too much to watch right here. It's just kind of boring, repetitive stuff. So I'm just going to get this head finished and then take the other one out of the tank and repeat the same process and just get these heads finished tonight.